Welcome back to rLounge. Today, we learn that life without boundaries is chaos. You have to set parameters in your life in order to live how you want to live. Let's live authentically. Our first mother-in-law sure is testing her boundaries, and she's about to learn a hard lesson. Would I be the a-hole if I hid my husband in the closet? My 22 female husband, 25 male, died. I'm currently waiting for his ashes in the mail, and I'm absolutely a mess. We were married for less than a year before he unexpectedly passed away. I made this burner to help me with the grieving process, but I don't know how to start. We never fully prepared for this, but he did talk about how he wanted to be cremated. He mentioned before that he'd like some of his ashes to be spread where he proposed to me. I plan on keeping some, giving some to his parents and sibling, and then spreading some at the waterfall he proposed. The ones I'm keeping for myself, I planned on keeping hidden in the closet until I'm ready for anything else, really. I have a lot of trauma surrounding death, specifically remains. I saw a lot of death in the last few years, so the bodies terrify me. It's all overwhelming. I told his mom, 51 female, what I planned to do, and she absolutely flipped out. She told me that if I was just going to shove him out of sight, that she should just take them all. And maybe she's right. He does deserve better than this. He had some issues with his family before, especially when we got married. His mom made quite a few comments about me, and he had very limited contact with her. So I don't know what to think about her comments on the ashes. Maybe she is right, that he deserves better than being stored away to collect dust. The issue is, I don't think I'd ever get any of his ashes back when I was ready for them. I don't think she would give them to me. She opposed us dating, us getting engaged, and us getting married. She opposed me taking him off life support and donating his organs. And she opposed the entire funeral vocally. During visitation before his funeral, she was very loud about suggesting what she would do differently. I can't tell if she's just in shock, honestly. I don't know what was happening. I was only going to give her the portion I originally planned up until her other comments. When being angry about the ashes, she called me to try and convince me to give them to her. I wasn't really wanting to listen to her, so I told her I couldn't talk. She immediately started telling me that I only knew him for a fraction of his life. She gave birth to him. She said she's entitled to his remains, and that I'll probably just get married in a few years anyway. I'm hurt, but what if she's right? Should I just give them all to her? Would I be the a-hole if I didn't give them all to her, even if he would be in a closet until I'm ready? Update. I feel like my post here the other day got attention. F it. I'm calling my mother-in-law Becky. I effing hate that witch. Anyways, earlier I had errands to run. My husband passed away and I've been neglecting nearly everything. I ran to the grocery store and picked up things to cook for my sister-in-law while she took a nap. I came back to a note taped to my back door. We always enter through the back door as it's closer to the cars. Our front door has a ring camera and can see a tiny portion of the driveway. I take the note inside and open it. A confession note from my husband's secret lover, and a whole graphic list of things. Confessing affairs, sex acts, weird crap. Describing the weird ovalish birthmark on his left butt cheek. Also a, "Don't bother trying to look for me, you'll never discover me," at the end, which I'm cackling at. The thing is, I know my husband never cheated on me. I know there was no affair. How did this mysterious lover know about his birthmark? It was the woman who wiped his butt as a child. This witch really is trying to get me to hate my dead husband, so I give her his effing ashes. The ring camera showed her bright frickin' red car. The backyard camera showed her putting a note in before ripping a giant effing fart. I'm actually cackling. So anyways, I'm headed to talk to my lawyer on Monday about getting a restraining order. She's been told multiple times she's not allowed on my property. She's just making my life easier, if anything. Our first reaction comes from "she used to be normal." I'm just here to offer my condolences to you and your sister-in-law. I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'm very sorry you have to deal with this beast of a woman now of all times. Hugs, my dear. Next comment from Aurelio. If you have not picked up the ashes yet, you may want to consider setting up a safety deposit box. Pick up the ashes once they are ready and take them straight to the bank for safekeeping. You mentioned in another post that you weren't ready to display them, which is totally valid. I would not put it past this woman to break in and steal. Next thought from AK Chic. Go ahead and post the video of her trespassing. Let people know that you saved the letter and will show anyone who asks. But that it is very disturbing for a mother to write about her own son, and you now understand exactly why he was so adamant about having boundaries up around her. Our next comment comes from Skedaddle Get Outa. Restraining order? What the F is wrong with her? You need to post this on her Facebook for everyone to see what a psychotic freak she is. You could even say, "Thanks for the note, but I'm keeping my husband's ashes despite your efforts." Then post the video and note with her handwriting. You're absolutely not the a-hole, OP. It's none of her business what you do with the ashes. Also, putting the ashes in the closet isn't bad at all. Everyone mourns in their own way, and you have to do what you feel is right. If you aren't sure what to do with them quite yet, just wait. There's absolutely no rush. There's no right way to grieve. When a loved one dies, it's difficult to cope with that loss. People grieve in a variety of ways. There's no right way to say goodbye to someone you care about. And don't be surprised if when you're grieving, you experience an array of emotions. Some people find themselves in a state of shock, while others are angry at their loss. You don't have to explain yourself or grieve to anyone, especially your mother-in-law, OP. What are your thoughts? Up next, this OP is sending a clear message. Send me pictures of the baby. So, mother-in-law decided to stop speaking to us when our first baby was 6 days old because we refused to circumcise our son or follow some BS religious rituals that she wanted the baby to have, and because we asked them to wait a couple more weeks before they come visit. Mind you, I had a C-section, developed a severe infection, baby and I had thrush, on top of other health issues, and we had to be readmitted to the hospital. And that's when they decided to just stop speaking to him and wouldn't answer his phone calls. Of course, they made the worst of our lives all about them. Color me surprised. On top of everything we were dealing with, they decided to just add to our stress. Now, 2 months later, brother-in-law apparently has sent her a picture of our son without our permission because he felt bad for her or something, to which she replied with a sad emoji. The other day, she was apparently feeling bad about how her crap relationship with father-in-law is and called brother-in-law to vent and asked him to send her more pictures of the baby so she'd feel better. Excuse me? F you, F you, F you, F you. You decided to abandon us. You abandoned your grandson and didn't give two craps how he was doing after birth. You never bothered to even ask how he was doing. And now you're treating him like your consolation prize and pretending we denied you access to him? You made a choice. You didn't want to be part of his life. You made a choice to treat him as badly as you treat your own children. And I'm not going to give you the chance to do that to him. I'm not going to let you subject him to the same effed up notion that people deserve to be treated like crap and ostracized if they don't follow your rules. What a crap. Effing self-absorbed narcissistic sad clown. Now it's time for some reactions from the community. Popcycle Guzzler says, reminds me so much of my mother-in-law. She came down to help watch our other kids while I had a C-section. Ended up, I get a terrible virus 2 days before and spend 2 nights in the ER. I have the baby and find out I was allergic to the surgical scrub, so my entire abdomen breaks out in oozing blisters, and I end up back in the hospital. In the middle of it all, she throws a tantrum, starts fighting with her son, then up and leaves us with no childcare. I haven't spoken to her in a year and have zero plans to. She also blamed me for the whole situation when I was literally dying in a bed too sick to even move. But it's my fault she lost contact with her son and grandkids because I blocked her on social media. Next comment from Wicked Dredden. Your last paragraph? Send that to mother-in-law. Exactly as you wrote it. Then go no contact. Complete radio silence. Block them all. They bring nothing but chaos into your lives. They don't deserve your time or consideration. I know that ignoring them is the best way, the only way to really deal with these sorts of people. But dang, that letter would feel good, especially if you go completely no contact straight after. It will drive them mad. Yes, I'm a witch. Our next comment from GOT Game of Throwaway. Sounds like brother-in-law is a flying monkey, limits on access to little one and photos of. He's already so trained to do whatever mother-in-law wants, like an emotional support animal. He has no right to try to train little one to become the next emotional support animal. If he chooses to be her puppy, fine. But your child? Absolutely not. Another comment from Thin Lengthiness 5380. Well, can't send pictures to brother-in-law anymore. I would also say he has to leave his phone in his car when visiting, so he can't snap his own and send them to her. That is, if you want to continue contact with him and feel he can be trusted after all this. You're not obligated to give them anything, OP. You're absolutely right. She chose to stay out of your lives, and that's on her. These consequences to people's actions, and she's learning this now. She made a very selfish move and is paying for it. You're right to create boundaries and not involve your child into such an environment. That's your responsibility and your choice, just as she made hers. Continue to live life knowing that you're not at all like your mother-in-law, and continue breaking those generational cycles. Way to go. Thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. We would hate for you to miss out on our next video. If you have feedback on today's content, please let us know in the comments. See you next time.